Hey everybody, welcome back. Well, despite a start that was a little rough, we tried to make another higher high because we got so used to it. We got this little doji here where we were unable to finish that way. And now we're here and we're filling that doji in. Now, why that's important, it was not really what was expected, was it? We were expecting with GDP that came in a little bit higher to have a little bit of an issue, but we didn't have an issue. We just kind of filled in here and we're seeing rotation throughout the sectors. And that's a really important distinction for us because right now, as this moves higher, I just want to point out the fact that we're starting to see NQ not move higher. And we're going to talk about why that is. Why is the NASDAQ dropping? Why is ES actually pushing up here? There's a little bit of a divergence there, and we're going to talk about that divergence and how we're going to profit from it. Then we have to talk about RTY, and what are we seeing here? We're just kind of seeing us hit a higher high very quietly. GDP came in higher, but what did they focus on today? And this was kind of interesting. What did they focus on with GDP? They really focused on durable goods, did they? So even though GDP came in a little higher, 3.2, 3.3, we were looking for 2, they just kind of blew it off and they focused on durable goods. Focused on durable goods going into PCE. Remember, PCE is tomorrow, and here you are on the 10-year treasury. And look at where you're sitting. You're just sitting right there. So now let's just turn this into line form for a second. I'm going to show you something. And I've been going through this trade and showing people how to utilize this trade. And I want to show you how to utilize it when it does not work as well. So what we're going to do here is just drop this 10-year to a very specific period of time. And we're all going to be able to see what happened here. Now, I've been watching these videos, and you remember that all this stuff's all connected. I try to connect all these videos starting Saturday throughout the week. That's why you try to keep going over the same topic over and over again so that you drill into it and you get it. For time's sake, I won't show you the drill into it guy. But you see your level right here, and then what happens, right? You got that 11:30 bond auction didn't go too well at that 11:30 time. The 4 and the 8 week rallies up. 1 o'clock. Well, the 5-year auction went exceptionally well. Now, this is where it gets interesting. And again, thank you very much for not caring about the editing and just being able to get to the content. It saves me an inordinate amount of time, and I get through way more content that I think is really what's more pertinent. So there we are. We're marked. Now, what happens? Bonds rally, dollar goes higher, equities do what? Rise. Bonds rally, dollar drops, supposedly. Equities go higher. That's what's supposed to happen. What happened today? Got bought, dollar went higher. So this is really important to get. So if we just go to that time and look at this, you can see right here from that period, let's get to that one exactly there and slide that over. Let's talk about what happened here. From that period over, you really didn't go anywhere on the S&P, even though bonds rallied, right? So they bought bonds, market really didn't go anywhere. And that from that point over, if we just get rid of this line and just drop it to right there, that 1 o'clock level, what you're going to see is from that zero line over, what's happened? Well, the dollar really kind of rallied for a period of time, which it's not supposed to do. Equities really kind of dropped off and then kind of rallied at the end of the day, market on close. We're going to talk about what they bought at the end of the day. And then what happened here? This is really important concept for us to get because this is not what we expected. When you see this, this is not what you're expecting. I always tell people when they see this, be very wary of all your positions. If you are a short-term trader, become concerned. And that's pretty much exactly what happened today, to be honest. Like if you go and take a look at this here, let's pay attention to this for a second. So we'll go back to a plain chart. So if you take a look at the ES and you can see that that's moving up, right? But then at the same time, you can see NQ doing this. So if we just go here for a minute and then we just took the ES and we pop that in and then just drop this to let's pop that there and drop this in. Great. And then what we'll do is we'll take this to a line. And then from there, we're just going to hit a 5-minute and we're going to get rid of this. Do you see any kind of divergence? So we do, right? We're starting to see divergence. Where's that divergence happening? Okay, so we're pretty much in tandem, right? And then where does that divergence start taking place? Well, that divergence starts taking place. Let's get rid of the 55 so that we're paying attention to it. Where does that divergence take place? Okay, that divergence takes place right here. Well, why is it taking place here? And I'll show you in a moment because I think this is fascinating. But certain sectors that are defensive or could lead to inflation are actually going higher. While we're watching tech, certain tech rush higher and other tech start to get a little tired, right? So let's talk about this. And what we're going to use is we're going to use this all sectors graph, which we use all the time. It has 39 in it, right? I have 39, and by the time I go here and put in, well, we'll leave NQ in, but let's make sure it's aligned. Good. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to drop this out, and we're going to drop this all the way. We'll go to here. Just drop that right there. Now, you're going to see these movements, and you know what we're going to have to do to make this really clean, because I want to go back further, and I want to show you this over time, because I think this is where it gets really interesting. Let's go back and watch this for a second. So here you go, right? And if you just watch what's going on and go to like the 23rd. Well, what's up? KWEB, XLE, oil, XLC, oil, MJ. Where's the socks here? Well, you would think since the 23rd, the socks would be ripping, right? Okay, so let's go back a little further. You get to the 22nd, all right? And you can start seeing right there, well, we're still not there, right? All right. So then you just keep dropping it back. And what you're looking for is going, okay, well, what's really going on here? Then you go look at the 18th. There's the socks. So what's been happening? What are we seeing happen, right? So by using this, you can tell where the money's starting to flow. And this is what you want to do. So now you go to the 24th. What's happening? They're not buying semis anymore. What they're doing, if you spend time with this graph, and I have dropped this in the pre-market chat a couple times, if you look at this graph, and I think you can pick it up by following me on TradingView, I think it's Arete 20706. But what's happening here is semis are dropping. They're buying XLC, they're buying XLK, they're buying China, which I'm not touching. But look at the focal point. It's all oil names, except for the marijuana trade that I guess we're waiting for some kind of legislation. If you know what that legislation is, please type it below because I don't have a clue. I'm not focused on it. I really don't play those names, but I'd be interested. And the Qs are just double here because I put that in up here just to take out the NQ. All right, so we know what's happening here. We can see where the money's going. We can see where it's not going. And if I told you for the last 2 days that cloud stocks or software stocks were going to be getting crushed by utilities, would you believe me? But they are. So this is what's happening to us right now, and we have to be cognizant of that. This is where the money is going. It's going into energy. It's going into XLC. It's going into XLK. SOX is still here, but after today and some of these earnings, it might not be. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit, but I think we need to talk about just the monster in the room, which was Tesla today, and just what the heck happened. And this is pretty important. Let's just drop this to a plane, and then what we'll do is we'll drop this to the candle. So what exactly happened today? And these are just notes from the newsletter. They cut guidance. Goldman's numbers today were cut substantially. This was not a small cut, guys. This was cut by a third to a half on guidance. And saying that 25's number you're not going to see till 26. This was a big cut. What got me about it was that we were short the 205 puts overnight. We paid 6 for them, closed them at 16 today. I'm going to show you that trade in a second. But what usually happens with Tesla is this. You tend to do a couple things. Now, we did several trades on this today and did exceptionally well with it. But what tends to happen is this. You tend to have some kind of rally or bounce. So what I did was when I saw it, we bought it and we played into it. As soon as I started seeing the reversal, we just pulled it out. Once we flipped, you knew it was on. Once you flipped, you knew it was on. It was just a great spot to just put on a short. So what we were able to do here was actually cover the short, go long, make money on the long, put the short on. I'm going to show you the clip right now because I know it's kind of hard to follow. But when you know where these levels are and you know the games, just think about it. If you're short and it hits, you're going to cover. So you just don't know how much that retail is going to cover, right? Because that's the majority of people that are short this retail. And then it just starts selling again. And then what happens is you get that retest. And you always want to look for these retests because they give you another shot. Now, I don't have the recording of this one, but then we just put the trade back on and shorted again right here. It was just absolutely perfect. It just kept giving you spot after spot today to put this on. And for those that are in this name and love this name, that's great. But there is nothing redeeming about this chart. What was really frightening to me, well, not frightening because I was short, covered down here at one point, just threw in the towel. But what got me about it is there was no bounce. You had other names that bounced very hard today that did not have great quarters and they bounced. This showed no bounce. Here, watch this trade. My focus off the rip is just going to be Tesla and what happens. There's 16 on those puts. Let's sell some of those puts at the market. 17, I just sold some. I'm probably going to dump the rest. Yep, I'm out. I'm out of those puts. 16. So I got 16 for them. I'm out. I paid 5.5, 6. That's enough. Watch Tesla today. I think they're going to squeeze this thing up. I don't want to be on the other side of it, but I do think they're going to squeeze that bad boy up. Yep. So let's see what happens here. I bought a little bit. I didn't go crazy. I bought some Tesla here. See what they do. See if they run this thing. Watch 192. Yep, they're going to run it. All right, right into that. Up $1. Sold some. All I'm doing is scalping to just try and make some money, get in. I'm up a lot there. All right, see what happens. I'm just trying to scalp to make some money in case it does push. Now, I don't like that bar, what's happening there at all. Sold some more. I'm going to let that bar develop. And then if it breaks that low of that bar, I'm out of the whole trade. So if you break the low of this, now I'm just going to kick the whole thing. What is that? 33. I'll just kick the rest of it out. I already made money, so I can't lose. I'm out. I'm out of all the Tesla. I made a little bit. So it could just be shaking me out here, right? All you did was probably test VWAP, but I'm not going to play that game. I was looking for a push to like 194, 195, and then just to get out. But I really don't want to be long. Yeah, there goes Tesla. They already rolled all the way. Wow, you just drop like that. You're going to get hammered here, huh? You got short stock now. Do I short? You have to short that bar. I don't know. You're going to break that open. They're probably going to run you down and then flip you back, maybe. Let's see how that develops here. I'm going to short some stock here. I shorted some stock. Let me see something here. Yeah, that's going to work. Let's say. If not, if it flips that bar, I'll just close the thing. Yeah, I'm already up on it. Yeah. All right, right there, I pulled some out. You're going to break? Come on, break. Yeah, excellent. Pulled some out. Well, that was a fast $2. Pulled some out, up $2. Probably going to run back over this. They usually run right back. 85 is where you're going, but they usually bounce right back. That was quick money. Let's see what happens here. I might just leave the rest right there. I mean, it's a free trade, and I crushed it long and short there this morning. Just give me another bar down. Give me one more down. Do it. Nope, I'm out of the trade. That was fun. All right, so went long here, pulled something out, shorted right here when it broke again below VWAP. It's probably going to keep dropping. I had puts. I made money. I made money on the short there. I'll come back to it when it settles. There'll probably be an easier trade there later in the day. So that was us scalping to the upside and then to the downside, and just pulling money out of the trade just by understanding the pattern. Why am I showing you that? You have to be nimble. The way that you're going to be nimble is not tie your ego to the trade. Do not tell the stock what it's going to do. Simply allow it to do what it's going to do and make as much money as you can. If you don't want to scalp for a couple dollars, don't do any of what you just watched. What you want to do is just watch the opening price of that day and kind of go from there. And that's really what we did. And that was the current theme. But we've all been there. We've all traded Tesla. We've all seen it had just a dumpster fire of a quarter. And then we've all seen it do what? Absolutely reversed, gap fill, and then roll back over. So if I have that opportunity, well, I'm going to take it and I'm going to take that shot. And I think that's very pertinent. Now, there's a bunch of other stuff to go over. I want to cover some Netflix. I want to cover what's going on with Microsoft. I think it's very important to just state a couple things for us that were watching this PayPal that was supposed to come out. We talked about this. What happened here? What really happened with PayPal? This could not have been the big bedazzler that he thought it was going to be. And I have not listened to the call, but he was going to talk about how he's going to change the world. Well, the only thing he changed was investor confidence, because in about 3 minutes, this went from 64 to 60. So I'm not really sure what he said, but whatever he said, he probably should not have said, and maybe he should have said something else, because it was not very well received. Now, we'll see how this goes, but I think there's a very poignant point here, and I want to point this out to people that are trading it. All right. So here's PayPal, and you can see what's happening right there with PayPal and how you broke that 200. And I think that's a really important distinction for us. So we saw this weakness earlier in the day. We played around with it a little bit. People did okay with the short. It was just a pretty quick trade. There's some other things out here that I think we should really talk about, like KLA, but I do want to point this one out to you because I think this is interesting. Now, you're down because of some earnings after hours. We're going to talk about that. I don't know how much that's really going to affect Netflix tomorrow, but let's be honest. That is an extremely strong trade. And what you always want to do is, if you're interested in a trade, you want to check the end of the day, especially the market on close orders, and you want to see where you're at from that 350 on. You really want to look for the last hour, but this is pretty telling, guys. So I'm just going to blow it up and show everybody. These are my levels that I use, and these are all standard deviations of volume. And then I have my main line right here as well. If you just come over from the last hour, remember the last hour of trading is largely institutional trading, and we've gone through ad nauseum why that's the case. But look at how many levels trigger all of my all my buying in here. All of these levels were triggered. It's crazy when you really look at it, right? And look at the night before. You had some other levels there, red, that were triggering. What do you have here? Just straight green. It's just people just saying, I need to get in this. So these are all orders buying into the close. So we know who that is. And then, of course, you see the huge market on close orders. That is not mom and pop on Robinhood saying buy 50 shares, okay? It is institutional buying at the end of the day at the high. I'd watch this tomorrow. I'd also watch this XLC we just talked about. Start watching these pieces, because this is setting up to just absolutely explode. Look at this. I mean, just look at the strength of this. You know, we're all talking about these semi-names and everything else, but, you know, here we go. All-time highs on Google, Microsoft, all-time highs, okay? So just be aware, that's where the money's going. Money is rotating through, and primarily it's rotating through that AI theme. We're going to get more into that on Saturday, but I really want to focus on that so that you get it. In regards to like the big players like Netflix, to me, I think you're kind of silly if you're not looking at this, because the potential of this is 600 pretty darn quickly. Like, I just don't see how you're not getting there really quickly, but that's neither here nor there. In regards to this, you're also going to just want to focus on the big dogs, like what's going on with NVIDIA after hours. You're down again. You're getting a little tired up here. How tired? I just don't know. Let's clean this off. But, you have that red day up here, but you did gap fill. Now, how much is that going to get hurt by KLAC, which we're about to go over, and Intel? We're just not sure yet. But it was not a great quarter by any stretch. But you're going to see some kind of weakness or some kind of stagnation. When you start getting up to these levels and you start seeing red doji, and you're closing open and close going into PCE, you just need to be a little careful up here, right? And then you start seeing these reversals. Remember, guys, You've seen down 3 after hours. We'll get to that. And this is the kind of stuff you want to watch. I'm going to show you this. See when you have like these kinds of bars and these breakouts, watch this. See when you have like a dragonfly right here? Dragonfly is when you open and close at the high of the bar, right? That is usually signs of a bottom. That was not a sign of a bottom today. So then you orb, opening range breakout of that 5-minute range, opening range breakout, right? What happens when you orb? Every retail trader loves this trade and does it, right? Because everybody just posts them all over YouTube like there's some kind of miracle. So all retail does this thing. So when they do it, right, they know they're going to get retail in. And what happened? They reversed it. That's pretty telling today. That's pretty telling. That's a game by algorithms to lure retail traders in. Now watch this. There's the other game. We're going to take out the high, because this time we're going to really convince people that they're going to miss out. And then what do? They just pull the flim-flam. Goes sideways, can't push, get a doji. Dojis are what? Signs of uncertainty, breaks down, and the rest is history. Watch the games. The games are really, they're real out there. And you've had a huge run, and that's why. And now you know why the games were there and why they were looking for liquidity today, right? They were looking for exit liquidity out there. ASML absolutely crushed, and they did raised numbers in a couple places. You need to pay attention to that. I do want to focus on the semis here. KLA after hours, it's pretty much a dumpster fire. Nothing really would say. You're down about $40. It was just an absolute mess. It's not what you wanted to see. You'll see it show good here, but the guidance for next quarter is it's not good at all. I'm not going to waste a lot of time on it. I'm trying to get you broad, not deep for tomorrow. So you have to come in. And what are you saying? Down 3 on Intel, right? I don't care so much about Intel as much as I care about what? I care specifically about KLA. Why do I care about KLA? Because it kind of negates what happened today with Lam Research, right? Lam Research crushed, and you had this reversal at the end of the day where you're closing at the low of the day, shocker, like somebody knew, right? And then you're down $10, and it's completely evaporated that gain. And now what do you have? You have a bunch of people in Lam Research that are underwater. AMAT. Right? This is why, if you look at the videos and how they're all related, 2 days ago, actually yesterday, was the day that I showed you the timestamps on purpose where we closed NVIDIA, right? We closed it in the 20s, like 624. And then we actually went short for a little while. SMCI, we closed in the 90s. Actually went short today, didn't do too well with it, quite frankly. They're just bouncing you around a lot. But when you start to see this, they're getting tired. So you always have to look at this and go, do I want to be around for that, that pull down? So you might want to watch SOX tomorrow and just see how this plays out. It's super thin. There's nothing technical here, but it might be a nice way to play the whole sector. You will want to watch PCE. And I just want to leave you with this. Look at the XLE names tomorrow and how you're starting to close above the 55. There's definitely something going on here. And it's very interesting that these energy names are starting to push into PCE tomorrow with GDP came out. And then we're going to go into the weekend. And then we have to deal with, obviously, whatever happens with the Red Sea. That's it.